Here's a little bit of information on programming, which really relates to life in the real world in so many ways. There's so many identical patterns in creating a website as there is in creating your life. Now, let's just say this is something that I learned through taking programming when I went to school. First of all, they would tell me that I had to do an impossible project within an impossible time frame. So, what they did is they had an objective. They want to create B. Okay, so they put a business plan together. They have an end result is B, and where they are right now is at A. And the whole idea is creating this. Now, if I want to create the website, I have to have a complete description of what I want B to be. Now, if you want your life, you have to have a good description of what you want your life to be. If you want to create world peace, you kind of have to have a good description of what it is you want. Now, in between here, first of all, time, if you understand what time is, it's what pushes us to go from point A to B if we didn't have a time frame. So you can put a time frame on anything. I thought when I went to school that things were impossible, but school really taught me that nothing's impossible. If you really have that drive to accomplish it within that time frame, it can be done. So can we actually create world peace in 2 years? Yes. But what it takes in this time frame, if we say world peace is 2012, then we need parameters. What does it take to get from point A to point B within that many times or within that time frame? When you meditate, when you want to go and ask the universe, for, connected to all of information, these people that meditate or these people that are guided by source, these are the questions that you got to kind of meditate. These are what it has to be inside you first, is knowing that all you have to do is have a wish. Want something. You have to have a carrot to move within life, and right now it's probably a good idea to be the solution to every problem that you're facing with. Now, there's something else to do with programming, that you have these if statements that do stuff. So, and my marker is dying out, but you have if, and then in brackets, let's say, okay, then you want to do something. And in here is where the actions. If, and then you have your parameters, and then you want to do something. So if you want to count how many people are in a website, then in here you would need all of the names. This if, well, there'd be a description in here. If add names or add clients. Okay, so if I call this function, if add clients, I need client names, and then I have code here that actually adds everything up, and then it has a result that comes back. So if we ended up creating our own money system where we, you give everybody a million bucks. Let's just put that round figure just for conversation. If we created a completely new money system, which is something we need, we're going to have to face facts at some point in time that We're playing a game of Monopoly. The game's over. Somebody owns Boardwalk and Park Place, and in order to play a new game, we got to tip this game over, sort of like claim bankruptcy, suck everything up, and start new. Now, if we gave everybody an equal start, which is what I think should happen, then, the people with the big homes kind of have to take a little less of that $1 million. I mean, you'd have to, whatever your worth must be the same value as everybody else. And that means the possessions. I don't think you need to lose everything. I think it's about change, but change where it doesn't hurt anybody. Now, when I brought that conversation up, the biggest thing that came up was no, that won't happen, because if we give everybody $1 million, then there won't be any cashier at the grocery store for me to buy my food. There won't be this worker to, plug in my cable, or there won't be any farmers farming. Those are beliefs, and that's all they are. But those are parameters. Those are, if we start a new game and everything was equal, what needs to happen so that we prevent the same patterns from being repeated? You still use the same logic, but as soon as you see a challenge, then you go, okay, what's needed to overcome that challenge? So it's you never look at life as being hopeless and helpless. You always have to look at, there's a solution to everything. Every single problem is just like a gift that's waiting to be opened. Every problem is waiting to unfold its solution. They are things that you want, everybody wants unfolded, the solution. What we think as problems are not what we think they are. We just don't know what the parameters are. We don't know what the questions are to ask to get into that connection with source, the information field, to be able to get answers, to say, oh, okay, I understand what's needed now, and then you just do it. But we're going to be like lemmings doing nothing because we don't understand a path yet. We don't have the information that's needed to go into a different direction. The problem, I do think meditation is a good thing, but if you meditate and you are not, how can I say this? Think as your experience as being bubbles within bubbles within bubbles. And your quantum world is one bubble. Your world, like this now seeing me as I tape, not after it's taped, is my now bubble. There's my future bubble. There's my universal bubble. Like there's how you perceive yourself and what position you place yourself are in different bubbles. You can see yourself within the universe. You can see yourself within the quantum world. And when you meditate, that's how you can get into that quantum world. But in all three levels of perception, you're still going to perceive that experience based on what you believe to be true. You can clear your mind when you meditate, but are you basically like clearing your DNA? You have to know what DNA is to understand what that means, but to say, if you've experienced hardships in your life and you find meditation is, something that's helped you out, but helping you out means you now meditate on world global suffering. If you don't know the power of creating and how much focused thought is in meditation, if you meditate with that much focused intention on suffering, then, who's to blame for the creation of all of the suffering that's going on? There's people praying for it. And that's what's been kind of my observation is a lot of religious people are praying for the end of the world. A lot of monks, a lot of meditators are praying for the end of the world. And it's like, we're trying to solve problems here. And it's like, we think it's the elites. And it's like, hell no, it's all these people that are thinking they're doing good by meditating on causing so much pain in the world. It makes no logic sense to me. Help me understand. Unconditional love for everybody, and I don't mean to be critical towards people who think that that's the answer, but um, I see the power of intention, and I see that what you put out into the world, you need to be really, really aware of what it is that you're doing. You know that I've kind of said for the last little while that if you want to practice intention, practice moving a rock. When you can move a rock with your intentions, like not with your arms, just look at a rock, and when you can move it, then you know how to have good intentions to put out into the world. Otherwise, only have intentions for self. And I'm really questioning why somebody would meditate on their own suffering. It just does not make any sense. It's like, why wouldn't you meditate on how to heal from the suffering, and then maybe you get some answers. Um, a lot of us, when we get treated really bad, a lot of women that are dealing with abuse, they end up attracting abuse because they become accustomed to that behavior. They know how to react to it. They know how to move. You know, the scariest day, I've often told this story that, abused woman comes home, gets the shit beat out of her. When she comes home every day and gets hit, she's not scared. She's comfortable. She knows how to react. She knows what to anticipate. She knows what's going to happen next. The day that's the scariest is when she comes home and doesn't get hit. That's when she's scared to friggin' death. She will be paralyzed. She will not know what to do. Her thinking will be completely gone. She'll lose all comprehension because she's not getting hit. And that's because it's completely foreign to her. She doesn't know how to react to it. Nobody's taught her. No, she hasn't had the experience. And I'm finding a lot of that with people that meditate, that you do it because you're trying to, relieve some pain, but the only thing they tend to do is learn how to accept the pain and not how to transform that pain into the solution. They can't create something they don't have a comprehension for. And that's why, it's like meditating on the suffering. You're creating a lot more suffering, which is why I say meditation can be dangerous. Peace out.